Enter.
The men who sent us on this journey are long since dead and gone. You who are reading me now are a different breed. I hope a better one.
Here we are, we are here once again.
So, good morning to you. It's 11:21, Monday, January the 8th.
January the 8th, crazy times, tick tock, talk tick, or just craziness in the regularness of the cycles, of the psychos, of the cycles, of those that know or do not know where we're heading. Who knows? Desi does.
Good morning, desigokey here. Top of the morning. Bonjour en HIHGLARIOusness.
Top of the morning to ya.
Yeah.
NeSe here also.
Bonjour, NeSe.
Anin. HIHGLARIOusness.
Well, we're finally getting somewhat of a winter here, so it's a beautiful day out, sunny and beautiful out there today.
It's always beautiful in my eyes.
There you go.
No matter how dark it is.
Right.
So, this is number 6, Desi.
Is it already?
Number 6.
Boy, how time just travels quick like that. You're
Talk
having
tick,
fun.
talk tick.
Right.
Again in the background, we have Wookie Foot, the amazing Mark Murphy,
Yeah.
my man crush.
Ha!
I love Mr. Murphy. Have for a long time. And thank you to Wookie Foot for allowing us to use your incredible, inspiring music. And we kind of try to go with the music a little bit. And today we are listening to Ready or Not. Very good album. Of course, all of them are in my biased opinion.
Right.
Anything in particular, Desi, you wanted to share today?
Well, let me see. It's the time of the year when it's the giant from the north, if you will, the northern direction. And next month, on Anishinaabe way, in that next month will be the time of the contrary moon. And let me see, I believe that we were talking about it last time. There is no full moon in February, so we have to get together with different ones in the ceremony world and find out, I guess, this year how we're going to do that for the endeavors as such. So
Now, the Anishinaabe people, what we would do is, in our calendar system, we regarded the moon as a marker or a place marker,
right,
or a tick in the cycle of the circle, because we looked at everything like a circle, like the powwow grounds, the arboretum, our ceremony grounds are circles.
right,
And even when you look at the grass dancers and you look at their original movements, they would do a circle where they stood with their leg dragging, so they would knock down the grass. So they would prepare the powwow grounds, and they would go out there first, was the grass dancers.
right, and lay it down as such, and get that arbor ready, as you're talking about, for the other relatives that come in. But seemingly enough, it seems like everybody has their role and their positions in the sacred wheel of life.
Exactly, and as they're preparing the powwow grounds, I believe we have talked about it, that they make it in alignment with the rising and the setting sun.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about that?
I don't believe we put it out there like that.
Well, we'll do a quick
Okay.
little recap.
Okay.
If you think of a clock face,
Okay.
Don't think about the Masonic Illuminati powers that shouldn't be control, where on most typical clocks it is a square with a circle trapped inside it. That there is some iconography there for you, or symbolism. The square being the man, the circle being the woman, and the man controlling the woman. But
Right.
anyway, that's another topic.
Right.
But the clock has all of its marks, 1 through 12.
Okay.
And if you think of 3 and 9 and a line straight through, this would be in accordance to our eastern and western door. Where at 3 o'clock, the eastern door, the almighty sun, the heavenly sun that shines down upon us, will rise between the eastern door and go through its travels, its talk tick across the sky, its 12 steps across the day, Horus, hours. But then when it sets in the western door at 9 o'clock.
Very interesting. So, like a sundial in our way, possibly.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
so when we would have this ceremony in the grounds,
Right.
one of the most highly regarded day was the middle of the summer. In the middle of the summer, where the sun, the almighty sun, the heavenly sun, was in its zenith and its highest point in the sky.
Okay.
And not only that, but in the most northern region around the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere. And so it was the time of the year where it was the brightest and the longest day. So much could be accomplished in the longest day. And so they would make this alignment with the powwow grounds in accordance to this festive time. And just like the almighty Holy Trinity, positive, negative, and neutral.
Ah. I see. So, the colors as such.
So when the sun is in its zenith along the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, the powwow ground is established by watching the morning sun and then watching the setting sun. And then we say this is the alignment, the line that denotes the eastern door and the western door. And then we also know that in the whole circle, when you make a cross in the circle, that you have the north, south, east, west, the primary directions.
Right.
But then as you stand in the middle of the arbor and you look around and you look at these primary directions, you also need to remind yourself that there is the heavenly Father,
Right.
and keeping you grounded is your Mother Earth. So
Okay.
there we have the 6 directions. The 6 directions. However, there is one more ultimate, all-time direction there is.
The center of the center, would that be?
The 7th direction
Right.
being the point where all the other 6 directions meet. And that is right there within you and you and you and universe.
Universe. So would it be then that one would want to be standing inside of the center looking outward of the medicine wheel, not standing on the outside looking in? Is that?
Well, you would think in the logic
Right.
or in the simplicity of it,
Right.
that would be the best place to be,
Right.
is where you are,
Mm-hmm.
right here, here, here. Horton,
Right.
can you hear us? We are here
We are here.
because do we need a savior?
No.
Do we need saving?
No.
Would it depend upon the perspective?
Yes.
There is your question. Do you need saving? Does the universe need saving? If the universe is right here, here we are, not paying attention to the circle or the cycle, because we're wrapped up in their cycles. When is the next TV series coming out? When is the next iPhone coming out? When am I going to get to talk to her, to him? When am I going to get to eat?
Right.
When can I get that Diet Pepsi?
Right.
When do I get my 15-minute break? When am I going to pay my bills? So all of these other cycles that we are bombarded with.
Right.
And then what does our president do?
What does he do?
Our president, Mr. Donald Trump, tweets, my nuclear button, and this is paraphrasing, my nuclear button is bigger than yours.
Kind of like that, huh?
Yeah, my nuclear button is bigger than yours, and it works better.
Boys and their toys.
Yes, absolutely. But then this goes back to that circle, that cycle, like you said, like a sundial. Because then in the center of that dial, if you put the post,
Yep.
the post,
Right.
the erect post, you erect a post in the center of that circle that's trapped within the square. But what is it that they do not know?
What is that?
Within that circle, trapped in that square, is a square.
Right.
That is trapping another circle, which is trapping another square, which is trapping another circle. And as you trap each circle and square, and you put the cross and the X, when you see the rotation, it goes from cross to X to cross to X to cross to X. Because if you think of that circle and you break it down in those 4 doorways,
Yeah.
then you connect all points of those with the circumference, all those points where they land on the circumference.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you make a square. And then when you have that square and you have the center point, you have your marking of where your circle is.
Right.
Then you make this circle, but then in order to make the circle and divide that, there you have the X again. And then you put the square in, then you have a cross.
Right. Yes, sir. Very good. Yes, we're doing a radio show, recording. So, can I?
Who's this?
Okay. All right. Kevin, there's a gentleman here with the sheriff's department. He's got some paperwork here for you.
I know, but we're doing ceremony.
Yeah. We're doing a ceremony. When's a good time for him to come back?
Can you give me an hour, sir?
After lunch sometime.
Okay.
Good enough.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Excuse the interruption.
Do we have any evidence on it?
None that he could see.
Was the shell out?
No, we had a napkin out, and there's a piece of cedar sitting on the napkin.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
But he was going like this a little bit,
Yeah.
and he looked like he had some 2 papers he had to serve or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wouldn't you know it? Right there in our.
Well, we're gonna add this.
Yes.
We're
please
gonna
do,
add this.
'cause it's all part of the what? The
Cataclysmic
There you go.
exteriorization phenomenon.
Yes, sir.
So here we are at number 6.
Right.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, if you throw a bunch of other 6s at that,
Right.
you know, people start going, ooh, creepy 6s. So we get a doorbell ring, and it's the sheriff's department.
At about 11:35 a.m. on Monday, January the 8th, the doorbell rang.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes.
As we're talking about these, I guess it would be labeled spiritual things.
Yeah. Everything.
However,
happens for a reason. Right.
I will say that the sheriff, the sheriff is the most powerful individuals in your county,
That's
according
correct.
to the law.
Right.
However, you need to check out the integrity of your sheriff. And as I've always said, I will never judge you for the miracle you are, but I will judge your actions.
Right.
So, judge me by my actions, please, because I'm probably going to be judging your actions, whether they are positive or negative to me and those that I care deeply for, which includes you.
Now.
Which includes you
Uh-huh.
and you and you and universe. Because as we are traveling on this cycle, as we're trying to find that center point, and we look around for that direction, maybe we need to realize that we are here, we are together in the universe, and look within the here, the 7th direction, to find the questions that will help us make the choice to be positive.
Right.
Because if we want to play the whole thing of semantics, positive in my universe equates to love. And negative equates to fear. And I'd like to believe, I'd like to think that love will help you in a state of positiveness. But that love also brings you to that fear.
Right.
Because it's so much easier to make somebody fear you. It's so much easier to make somebody fear you, because fear is just as powerful as love. And in order to make somebody love you, it is absolute that you love them. And unfortunately, we are so fearful of loving because the fear of the loss of that love. And it's not an easy task, because you have your head and you have your heart, and where is the Holy Trinity? In the center, in the throat. Communication. But then what's between the point of communication and the brain? Hearing. But crazy enough, right there too in the center, we have seeing. And in between seeing and in between the mouth, we have smelling. All of our senses.
Right.
So where is the here? Where is the moment where we reflect on their now? Because the talk tick,
Mm-hmm. The
But-
pendulum.
the pendulum,
Mm-hmm. In the center.
right? But do we want to be caught up in that oscillation?
Right.
Do we want to oscillate, or do we want to find the center point? And how do we find that center point?
We'll go into the center.
Right? And again, easier said than done. Easier said than done. And I am absolutely willing to hear you because I think I have some possible solutions, but I don't know, because to initiate them in my situation is rather hard to do.
Right. Could you go into a little bit of detail there, or share with us the other PowerPoints of that wheel? You talked about, I believe, was it 3 o'clock, Kevin? And then what was the other one?
Oh, when we were talking about the setting up the arborarium in accordance with the rising sun and the setting sun,
Okay.
which is rather interesting in the fact that when you look at the sun rising, you see the 3 o'clock, then it goes through high noon,
Right.
and then we have the setting sun.
Right.
And then when the setting sun occurs, we have that alignment,
Yeah.
and then the powwow ground is established.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I learned about this
Uh-huh.
on the White Earth Reservation,
Okay.
there was, the powwow grounds,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 152 is the number of powwows that we've had now
Wow.
on those powwow grounds.
Amazing.
And from what I was told is that they were all established
Uh-huh.
152 years ago, that powwow ground, where they said, okay, here's the rising sun,
Uh-huh.
here's the setting sun, this is our powwow grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how big it keeps getting,
Mm-hmm.
then they decide how round the grounds become.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately now, they've constructed bleachers in a lot of powwow grounds, and so the powwow grounds can only be so big
Right.
anymore, which kind of stifles the growth
Huh.
of the
Interesting
powwow.
metaphor.
However, one of my most joyful times of the year is going to the White Earth Powwow and being there at sunset.
Yeah.
I would be in the eastern door and I would watch the sun set between right there at the western door.
Wow.
And so I would watch this, and then I would smoke I used to have a little tobacco pipe
Yeah.
that I would smoke and fill it with some kinnikinnick,
Right.
and then right, I'm sorry, I'm just having those memories in my head. However, in about 2003,
Uh-huh.
I noticed when the sun was setting, it was setting more towards 10 o'clock and not 9 o'clock.
What?
Now, there can be a few degree changes because of the calendar date of the 14th, which is the usual time of year that the White Earth powwow is.
Right.
They have it on the closest weekend to the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when they had these powwows, you would probably say like, well, there may be like a 1 to 4 degree difference of where the sun would be setting on 9 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
However, in the last 10, 12 years now, the sun has been setting more and more towards 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Right.
So then, my assumption is that this summer at the White Earth Powwow, that the sun is going to be 45 degrees off. Well, no, let me specify this even more.
Okay.
On the summer solstice, I am going to make the prediction that the sun is going to be 45 degrees off from the powwow grounds alignment, and then thus is going to make the rising sun 45 degrees off too.
Wow.
So if this is off 45 degrees and we do the alignment,
Yeah.
because remember when we were talking about doing the lodge,
Yeah.
I wanted to do it in alignment with the sun, where I was thinking where north would be because of the whole winter and the bear. But when we were going to set up our door, I was going to be like, okay, where's the sun rising? And then I wanted to do the opposite of where the sun was rising. In my assumption, it was going to be north west is where the door was going to end up being. So hopefully the next lodge we get, we'll see where the sun is rising, because that's what I want to do, is make my marker for the sundial.
Right.
Because that's how the lodges are built. And the Anishinaabe people, interesting enough, they would have their entrance on the eastern door. And if you look at a lot of other tribes, they would have their entrance into the lodge on the western door.
Right. What do you think about that?
Well, this is where we go with our medicine wheel, where the Anishinaabe's medicine wheel is the X.
Right.
And not the cross. And right now we have the X kind of being a little bit shoved in our faces with the X-Files, the X-Games, the X-Generation, the X-Men. I mean, you see this X all over the place.
Right.
And then when we go with the circle inside of the X,
right.
Then where else does it go? And this goes back into the recognition of patterns. Because the greatest gift that we have as humane beings is pattern recognition.
Right.
So when we realize that we are here in the center, in the seventh direction, then we can take a look around the circumference of our sphere.
There you go.
And take an assessment of what's happening, and then we can plan accordingly. And when you can do that in a state of love, it's...
He said, you know where that attitude will get you? Everything. There we have it.
Yes, and again, it's a lot easier spoken than done, you know. But it's the challenge that's all the fun.
Right.
Because what's the other alternative? What else can you be if you're not being?
Right. Human being.
A humane being? Because I don't want to be a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't label me as a human being. I want to be a humane being. A humane being human.
Right.
Not a human being humane. Because human, by the denotation of the word, is of man. And I'm not saying that I'm a feminist. I am not a feminist at all, nor would I ever want to be a feminist. And I know that's going to ruffle some feathers. But the reason I would not want to be a feminist is because I would much rather be an equalist.
Oh, yeah. I'm hearing you there, bro. I like that. Play on the words, man.
Sweet silence, it keeps saying in the background. However, nothing is more detrimental than podcasting or what we're doing right now than just silence.
The word.
Because it's scary.
Oof.
Because in the silence, you have to make the choice to be here. And is that a scary place to be for some people?
Absolutely can be.
Right? Because looking within is looking within. And depending on your actions, you are going to label yourself. That's one of the reasons why I don't need to label you. I don't need to label the universe because I know the universe is what it was. And the action was what? Positive? Negative? To who? To who was it positive? To who was it negative? And if we or universe continues to do negative, stress one way or the other is at the point of breaking. Because if you're in the center of that circle and you project yourself to the circumference, if you don't give, you will break. And you'll pop the bubble.
Right?
And pop goes the weasel because the weasel goes pop. Pop. And what happens when the bubble pops?
Ship goes down, don't it?
Usually. And up and out it goes. So what could we do? What could we do? I would rather be, hey, what could we do? What could we do? Not like we should.
Preventive maintenance.
Right. Absolutely. Defensively. Wouldn't preventative also be kind of defensively?
Right.
But his button is bigger, and he knows it works.
Right. The email you can reach us at, drop us an email rather. Mine is desigokey, DESIGOKEY @gmail.com. How can we get a hold of you, NeSe?
I have an email. It's called The Megaphone Man.
Okay.
One word. TheMegaphoneMan @gmail.com. I also have what is it called? YouTube.
Oh,
Is it
okay.
a page or a YouTube channel? I'm not too savvy on it, but I got something I've been pushing things at, and it's Cannabis Rez REZ
Okay.
Solution on YouTube. I think it's like YouTube / / Cannabis RezSolution. I'm not sure, but I know if you search it, you can find it. And we haven't decided yet where we're going to post these, but if you're listening to it, you figured how. And so we'll be doing more in the future. Definitely one more. Absolutely one more. We're going to do the 7th for sure, because we got one more. And from there, where do we go?
No limit?
Never. There's never a limit, because everything is plausible just as it is possible. But then where do we find the action to achieve the dreams, to achieve the goals, to achieve being?
Uh-huh. That is the question. Go to the center. Perhaps.
That would be the starting point.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a course, if you're looking for direction, all you need to do is take a little reflection at where you are. Are you here? Because here we are. It's perfectly clear.
Right.
Was that a little freestyle there?
Yeah, it went right with the song. It was beautiful. well done. That is for sure.
And I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a leader. Because then it's just going to be the blind leading the blind. However, if you guys would make me be the leader, I would probably do it then. But I'm gonna do it kicking and screaming. I'd rather somebody else stand up. I'd rather somebody else stand up and say, hey, I'll lead.
Uh-huh.
Because if I stand up, I'm going to fall. And maybe if we get enough people around,
Uh-huh.
then maybe I can stand up. And with the help of you and you and you and the universe, maybe someday I'll stand up tall with the support of all of you, because we'll all be standing then.
I like the way you put that.
Because when we all stand together, it's hard for one of us to fall. So interlocking arms, does it have to be physical? Can we just interlock with our hearts to hold each other up so we're not falling in our darkness? Because in this time, talk tick of their cycle of the psychos, they constantly add another cycle to disrupt the natural boom boom, boom boom, boom boom of your own timepiece. Your heart.
Those full of fear are not really on the way.
Again, the background music.
Is a king, no servants. The wave can never be afraid of the ocean. Inside that motion. How can you think
So, wow, we're getting all of the clocks of the tick-tock talk ticks going off.
You gotta love that.
Look at that one.
Synergy, serendipity.
Push the big button on that. So, I don't know if that's telling us that this is close to where we may stop this.
Or we just might put it into that infinity number 8. Take it.
I guess this is the stopping. So thank you. Miigwech, chi miigwech. A pegish bima deziwe win.
Jimmy Gwech, Gigawabamin Minawa.
Please be here again, because we'll be here. And
Desigokey. Much.
and NeSe.
Want me to take that, Kevin?
Oh no, I'm still recording that.